chat rather than the Thetford Council Watch. So I'm going to hand you over to Mark and Bob, Alan, Geoff and Zak over in the corner, and this is just a nice relaxed with a pint, good old gab. So here we go, enjoy.
Yeah, basically because of the holiday weekend and everybody's itinerary being up the wall, people can't make it tonight and various other things, so we're going to put it off and arrange another official meeting over the next 2 weeks, and tonight we'll just have a general chit chat with the lads and the ladies. So what were we talking about? We were talking about the levels of council.
The levels of council. So what came up a few seconds ago, before the camera was rolling, is that we're attacking a parish council. Attacking. We're not attacking them. I am.
Questioning them.
Questioning.
We're attacking them.
Yeah.
It's a figure of speech. We're attacking them with questions.
It doesn't matter whether it's good or not. That's how I feel. I'm going to speak from the heart.
Let's go and get him out.
Right.
They feel like they're being attacked.
Yeah, they feel like they're being attacked, but all we're doing is actually asking questions, which they are desperately trying to avoid, which is something that we will go into at our next full council meeting with freedom of information stuff that I gathered from the town clerk. But going back to what you're just saying, yes, we can only speak to the town council or parish level, but there are councillors on that town council that are district and county. Now, we have got no way of going and talking to Brecon District Council, or you can't go to Dereham and chat with those guys. The only route through is through those. Now, the way I see it is if we're asking those particular councillors that are at a higher level in their own private personal capacity and as a councillor, as concerned residents as to their plans for Abbey Farm, 15-minute cities, the climate crisis they've declared, they can't hide forever.
No, and that is they have. I feel they have given us an in there because remember the bit of paper that they put out saying even though we have county and district councillors around the table, they will not be answering questions at that level. Do you remember we spoke out about that?
Yeah.
So potentially, if they hadn't claimed this crisis, they'd have headed us off in the past. Because if we'd have asked the county and district councils the questions, they could have closed up shop and said nothing to do with us at this level. So the fact that they've opened up the climate crisis at the town level, it does give us the chance to question the county and the district councillors at our level. So they give us an in there.
Yeah.
Now, it's what we do with that.
Yeah.
My feeling is that if we just keep asking the county and the district councillors those questions at the town level, the rest of them across the wider area are getting away with murder.
Yeah.
Now, is that something that they want to keep the general public away from them, and they're using Thetford as a sacrificial lamb, and just getting the focus on the county and district councillors at the Thetford level? So when do we go at that higher level as the public is my question.
Yeah, so we want to go to a higher level, but will they even let us in the building to ask those questions?
Probably
the thing
not.
is, what they've done is the announcement in the Eastern Daily Press was Thetford, Attleborough. There were certain towns, wasn't there?
Yeah.
There were certain towns where they're going to implement, like, they called it cycle paths, footpaths, and but we all know it's the back door into the 20-minute thing. Look at Oxford. We was all down there. Was it last year or the year before? I don't know. Time flies by.
Before, I think.
Was all down there, and we was trying to shout and tell people what was happening in Oxford. They're going to shut places off. They're going to block roads, and if you travel through it, you're going to get fined. And everyone said we was nuts, right? But they're actually implementing it now. They're doing it right now, and they've set the cameras up and everything. They've actually colour-coded roads and what have you. And if you're in that area when you shouldn't be, you're hit with a fine. So this, to me, them calling the Thetford Town Council calling this climate crisis thing is is their way of saying, look, we really need to go ahead with this psychopath thing. We really need to go ahead with this, the welfare of the town. And while we're at it, we might as well put restrictions on where people can move to make those green areas and what have you. Do you know what I mean? It's a way through the back door after we shut them down last year.
If you say we're only at the town level for councils, and the questions are only asked to them, and they have not any real power, what you're missing a key thing is, if you make this whole 30,000 people that live in this town aware of this,
Yes,
that's your answer.
Yeah,
Because at the moment, we haven't got 30,000 people aware.
yeah.
Now, Tina, this is my point. I agree with what you're saying. Now, what I'm saying is, I'm concerned that we can't get at the district and the county councillors at the minute, and there's no plan for that. However, we circumnavigated that last time by leafleting Thetford and waking up the 30,000 people. That then resulted in the 250 people storming the town council, as they said, turning up to register their democratic rights. Now that then forced county and in effect district to have the emergency meeting in the Carnegie Rooms. So we actually opened up the higher levels at the town level by weight and numbers.
Yeah.
That was leafleting the town. That's why I think we need to leaflet the town again.
Yeah.
If you remember at that meeting, I can't remember the guy's name from Norfolk.
Yeah, the head of finance
Tom.
or something. wasn't it?
Tom,
Got no plans.
Cannon.
Got no plans
Cagney.
at all
Okay.
in taking this any further.
Yeah.
But obviously now, because
Yeah.
they've now called it climate crisis in
Yeah.
Thetford. So
Yeah.
was
The
it
other
telling
thing
the
is,
truth then, or have the plans changed since then?
that's it. I mean, the other thing is that you still got to think of the bigger picture. Today, I printed off the full list of councils that are signed up to the UK 100,
Yeah.
and they're still signed up for it.
Yeah.
They're not coming off the
yeah,
gas.
like Norfolk County is signed up to
Yeah,
the
they
UK
have,
one.
yeah.
Yeah, Norfolk and Suffolk. You know, as we know, we've got a foot in both camps.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I printed off the whole list.
Can I just pitch in there for people who don't fully understand the system? Breckland have not signed up to it,
But Norfolk has.
but Norfolk has. Now, because of the whip system that the parties employ, if Tories, Conservatives at the county level are in with UK 100 and they've signed up for it, the whip system would disseminate down to the Breckland district level. They won't have to sign up for it. They will just do it because they're part of the party.
Yeah.
Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah.
So it's a clever way of Breckland saying we haven't signed up for it, but because the party's involved in it, they're in it. And then they're getting a squeeze in from the town level by Labour. So that's the uni party they're starting to work together.
Well, the worrying thing is, the general election, everyone says Labour's going to get in, so that'll be nationwide, UK
Yeah.
100.
But as we know in this town, Alan, Labour only got in with 18% out of a 24% turnout.
Yeah.
And they're now making all the decisions. What I'm trying to say, and I want to get it onto a leaflet to the people affected, is that Labour, with their 18%, do not have a mandate to declare a climate crisis with no evidence, and then start moving thousands and thousands of pounds of taxpayers' money out of budgets to fund a nonsense that they've declared.
Yeah, and it is a nonsense.
Yeah.
As you know, I went after West Suffolk Council as well, asking for information, documents, data, evidence, the whole thing. And they cannot come back with any evidence to back their claim. There's no council in this country that can provide us with any data, documents or evidence to back their claim. They're just taking orders from a situation. They're going around, the orders are coming around government, right? Even our government have declared a climate crisis. The orders are coming from the UN, the International Bank, the Bank of International Settlements, the WHO, the World Economic Forum, and they're bypassing government now. The stooges and the puppets in government aren't actually involved in that anymore,
But
as far as I can see.
But because of the whip system, the people at the top who are obviously corrupted, they're running the whip down to the lower levels, and we're suffering at the lower level, which it goes up to county.
Yeah.
So the lower levels are doing what they're told to do by the parties,
Yeah.
and also they're being propaganded by everything that's
Yeah.
out there.
But it's nuts, isn't it? You know, like West Suffolk Council, say for instance, I did a freedom of information on those. So can you provide me with evidence? And they said, oh, we're following the advice of the IPCC, Intergovernmental. IPCC, what's the P? Intergovernmental Panel on Climate,
Yeah.
the climate crisis. But those people haven't even declared a climate crisis in their own right.
Exactly, yes.
And yet, the councils are taking guidance from them.
And the bottom line, there isn't no evidence, is there?
There is no
There's
evidence.
climate
Well, the
emergency.
IPCC, they only work, and they've admitted it in their own documents, they only work off of modelling and hypothesis. Now, what happened the last time we saw modelling? In 2020,
Well,
Ferguson.
you know, Ferguson
Yeah.
came out and said so many millions are going to die.
500,000 were going to die.
That's it. So the modelling, you chuck out the window, none of them have actually come out of any empirical data to back their claim. So,
Well, we can't really be taking them overly serious anyway, because West Suffolk isn't a small place, is it really? With Great Barton, what's his name, Cliff Waterman, coming out
Yeah.
and basically saying the only data they gather for this climate is Great Barton. Well, Great Barton Junction, people might not know who's watching, it's a very small place out the whole of West Suffolk, so
that was Ian Gallagher.
Ian Gallen and Cliff Waterman were sitting there as well, so.
Yeah.
Maybe
Just-
just
see,
so
that's-
you know, we cancelled the main meeting because of the holidays and people haven't turned up, so we're just having a general discussion to the camera, so we are live.
So you join in.
Come and join in, yeah.
Yeah.
But all over there,
From the
we
no
are
top through the door there, and down the corridor.
See,
You want
I
to
don't think
this,
this, I don't think this is I don't think this is necessarily about getting the councils to change their mind, because they won't change their mind. I had a meeting with the chairman of West Suffolk Council, and he basically said to me, they won't change their policy. So this, to me, is all about just the court of public opinion.
Yeah, we need the numbers.
The problem,
That's it.
Problem you've got though, Bob, driving home from work, I had Radio 4 on, BBC Radio 4, talking to guys from Alaska, saying that all the ice is melting, there's a million crabs are dying because the sea's warming up. Anyone that doesn't believe in climate change has got to be
And that was on
mad.
that was on BBC.
I've actually heard that they're
The
culling
millions
polar bears now
of
because there's too
people
many.
that listen to it and believe it.
Yeah.
I mean, you've got such
Yeah.
a problem
Like-
with mainstream.
That's it. Well, like Chris said, he said, you know, there was a big thing about the polar bears. Oh, the polar bears are dying.
Yes.
They're actually culling them now
Yeah,
because there's so many.
I know.
You know, I suppose they could say, you know, on us because they're encroaching on people's homes because all the ice is melted. But what they're not telling you, I'm not sure if it was east or west to
Yeah.
east,
Some
but
of it's
one
melting,
part is
but
melting
one's getting-
and the rest is growing.
getting bigger.
They don't tell you that. So the BBC, as we know, the BBC are corrupt as hell. You know, Gates gave how many millions to them?
Yeah, but how many millions listen to him?
Yeah.
And believe it?
But then thinking back, right, how many, we was all, at one point, we was one person stood in our front garden saying, it's all a lie, it's all a lie.
Yeah.
You know, and there were thousands of people saying, you're nuts, you're nuts, you're nuts. But now you look at, when you walk around now,
Bang in the pan,
That's-
remember?
that's not happening anymore, is it?
No.
You know, you look at what's happening now. All these people that were on social media with their bloody, you know, I've had my thing that we can't talk about. You know, where are they all now? They're all gone very silent now. It's because they're all aware. So
Yeah.
why can't the same happen with this?
Well, no, you're right.
See, the thing is, we're
I
looking,
should shut up. I'm talking too much.
we're looking at the lower level, aren't we, again, getting back to these local politicians and councillors. Now, you've got the whip system from the top. We spoke about that. But a lot of them are being driven by emotion. The propaganda is working on their emotion. Would you agree with that?
Yeah,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah. So my point of view is when we're talking to them, we've got to give them, in effect, a series of closed questions to get through that. Yeah, you know, why do they believe in net zero? What do they think they believe that it's going to stop the carbon, don't they? What are we going to get from the carbon? Are we going to get better air quality? The air quality in London has never been better. The air quality in London at the minute, fact is, the worst is down in the tubes. They're not doing anything about that, and above ground it's the best it's ever been. Now, if we explain to them the 0.04% of the carbon, if it goes down anymore, it's going to kill the plant life, and we need the oxygen from the plants. Now, these are the things we need to be saying to these councillors and finding out what their point of view is on those facts. You know?
But what information are they believing? This is what we've got to find out.
Just mainstream. It's just mainstream information. Well, what was
No,
it?
well,
What was it they declared in
The
Thetford?
carbon's going to kill us.
Yeah,
But no carbon, you are dead.
you are going to die.
But my point is, because of the propaganda and their emotional input, backed up by the whip system, which in effect is a sword of Damocles sitting on them because they're in a political party, it's very easy for the emotions to be driven. And we've got to fight those emotions, you know.
It's funny you say about air quality in London, right? A guy I know, and I've asked him, I said, will you come and speak to us? And he said, no, I won't, because he's getting on, he's probably 80 now. But he's spent 40 years measuring air quality in London, right? And he said the only time he found a dodgy air quality was in the Blackwall Tunnel.
Yeah.
The rest of the time it was, yeah. So he straight away, he said to me, this is all complete rubbish.
Yeah.
Based on my knowledge and experience. So, but they're just...
The centre of gravity here, to me, is an education problem. We need to educate the masses and get numbers, military speak, to outflank these local politicians. Because we know at the higher level, they're all bought and paid for.
It's not just
Doing what you
the
did last
politicians,
time,
is it?
though. Doing what you did last time, like when we done the 20-minute neighbourhoods, just let's leaflet it out and just
It's got to be
get it out to the
Yeah.
town.
Yeah.
So we get about
Yeah.
250, 300 people at the 30th of April meeting.
Yeah. Do it about
We want to be
midweek.
getting more than that.
Yeah, yeah.
We want to be getting more
Well, if we
people
get more than that, we get more than that. But
Do you know
I
what I
mean,
mean?
we just, you know,
What we're going to be doing, waiting until this time next year for something else to pop
Yeah,
up. We've got to
just
nip
gotta
this
do
in
it.
the bud.
yeah,
Just got to do it, yeah.
which is good. I like that. That's
Well, we have got a prototype ready to go.
Yeah,
Called it, a man at the town called Thomas Paine used to have the crisis pamphlets, which he put out in the States, which drove the American Revolution. So what I've done is, tentatively, is resurrected the crisis pamphlet, TCP, Thetford Crisis Pamphlet, nice quote from Thomas Paine on it, and get some information down, cheap and cheerful, it won't cost us too much to get printed up, and we'll get that out quick.
Yeah.
Try and get as many as we can to the next town council meeting,
Yeah,
and bring some sort of pressure to bear
yeah.
that's what we need to do.
on these
Because
councils.
they have to give us evidence to back their claim.
But if they never answer our questions, that looks, it falls back on them, doesn't it? And people
Yes, it
see
does,
yeah.
See,
that they're not answering any
exactly.
questions
It's
at
all about documentation, which I've got here for our next
Right.
meeting, right? It's all about gathering enough evidence to back your claim that they don't know what they're talking about. And that doesn't matter who you're dealing with, whether it be a water company or whatever, you know, over your council tax, whatever your personal battle is if you keep hitting away, eventually, this is Michael Albanese said this when he took on the Bank of Scotland,
Yeah.
right? He said, you can't walk into a courtroom and they'll say, yeah, you got me. You know, there you go, you've won. You have to keep going back and back and back and back until they're backed into such a corner that they cannot possibly get out. They cannot get out of that corner.
No.
It took him 10 years.
Well, it's going to take a long time because at the last meeting, they're going to read out all the questions that have been posted in first in the 15 minutes before we can ever get a say. So they're going to get all the stooges to write a question.
Well, that'd
So
be
do you
all
think
right,
that was a
that'd be all
tactical move then?
Oh,
Well, like,
Purely coincidental.
right. Yeah, well,
Yeah.
that'll cause uproar there, because if we get a lot of people in there who come there, they're going to think, right, if you're going to just impose
Yeah.
all that, we'll just then take
Yeah.
over.
no, I did bring that up as a
You
question.
did,
I had to
yeah.
change the question because I thought that is the most fundamental question on the night is
yeah.
you can't read out questions that you can write back to the detriment of the people who want it orderly in the meeting. Now, I've already spoke to the mayor about that offline, the mayor at the minute,
Yeah.
and I'm hoping he'll bring some common sense to the council on that one.
But
But if they don't, I think,
Well, they cause
But
problems for themselves, don't
does the
they?
mayor have to answer to the town clerk? Clerk, whatever you
well,
call
the
it.
town clerk answers to the mayor.
Right,
The
okay.
problem we've got at the minute
Yeah.
is a lot of these, we call them the officers, they're called the officers, you have to elect the officers. Some of these officers think they've got too much power.
What was it you were saying about the town clerk, about legal standing?
Oh, that was my friend, wasn't it? My expert friend was saying, what, the voice message that I left. Yeah, something, oh, I can't remember.
Well, the town
Yeah.
clerk cannot break the law,
Yeah,
but we were
Essentially,
telling
he's
them
the CEO, isn't he? He's the CEO.
Yeah,
of the
But
company.
well, not, well, yes, but we've got to make the people aware. Is it a company or isn't it a limited company?
But
Well, they've said it's a company. In council meetings I've sat in, they said it's a business.
Right, at the town level where there's no money, it's not looked on as he's the CEO, and the chairman, i.e. the mayor, has totally the power to overrule him. As you go up to the district and the county level where there's a lot of money, you find that the CEO will wield a lot of power in a corrupt sort of way, which shouldn't happen at the town level.
so they say that you're saying there's no money in the Thetford account?
No, there's money in it, but it's not the big money that you can speculate with that you can at the district.
Right, okay.
And again, don't forget, the monies that come back in from government to county is usually massive, to district is big, and then town parish level, small.
Yeah,
So the amount of money that the town can play with, for want of a better word, is not a showstopper.
yeah.
But once you get to Breckland district and county Norfolk level, they've got show-stopping money. And the interest in that money at the CEO level for the officer in charge, and he's there all the time making sure the deals are going in and the deals are adhered to, where the councillors in effect can change around all the time.
That's something to look into as well. These deals, where are these deals going?
Well, there was mentioned before about Liz Truss, wasn't it, saying injecting 20 million into the climate change for us to, I don't know if it's our region or Thetford or what, so I
Yeah,
don't
that
know
was,
where, I don't know who mentioned that last.
yeah, that came up at the last meeting.
Yeah, so obviously where's that money going to be really going, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
No, that's the thing, that's money supposed to come in to make Thetford a better
Yeah,
place.
yeah,
However, with the town looking at the climate crisis, it would be very easy for them to take that
yeah,
pot of money that, now,
exactly,
government, from what I can see, will be quite happy with that money being used by Labour
yeah,
for the climate crisis, because they're in the climate crisis scam as well.
yeah,
So because they're all in it together, any
Yeah.
money that's available will not
Yeah.
go to the people.
exactly.
By the way, anybody who's watching from Thetford, get around the roads and see how many holes we've got around here at the minute. Because I tell you what, a climate crisis, we need a pothole crisis in
Yeah,
Thetford right
exactly.
now.
Yeah.
It's,
But yeah,
Going
going
for a
forward
shot.
anyway. Yeah, going forward for, yeah, we need to get that, what you've got set up there, get them leaflets out and then get the backing of the town.
You know, I'm just looking at things, you know, I mean, I went away and done a week skiing, and while I was away, somebody was stabbed.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? You've got all the anti-social behaviour going on. We haven't got enough police.
no, we
You've got the potholes, there's rubbish everywhere.
yeah.
The amount of things to get your teeth into in Thetford, and if you have to spare £20,000 to spend that money on behalf of the people
Yeah.
on doing something good, and they're directing £20,000 of taxpayers' money into the crisis. What are they going to do?
But where does it end? I mean, is it just in Thetford itself? What about the surrounding villages like Barnum?
oh no, the
And-
climate crisis
Yeah, but you
only
don't
ends.
drive through it.
It's
and,
only
it's
border of
ended.
Thetford. It's only,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a big,
Yeah.
like we're sitting in a tube.
Yeah,
Well, I was in East Harland last night. I had a job in East Harland, and it's, you know, in Bridgham. I was in Bridgham. I spoke to somebody in Bridgham. I had a quick pint in the Angel at Larling, and I spoke to everybody in there. I explained about our climate crisis, and as an ex-military man, I wanted to know where our demarcation line was, where the buffer was, and what the handover procedures were. You know, if there's any, you know, it's like the coronavirus. I thought, you know, what you're finding is, you know, it can't get you when you're sitting down, but it'll get you when you stand up.
Yeah.
It seems to be that effect with the climate crisis. If you come into Thetford, you're going to suffer from climate, but if you're in Bridgham or East Ireland, they haven't got a problem.
That's what I'm saying. What do you do? It's like sometimes you drive through rain. It's got to start somewhere, hasn't it? That's what I'm saying. You know,
So-
where does it end and stop?
So really, we need to make sure that everyone moves out of the town and then it's completely knackered. And that way we'll be right. East Harlem will thrive. We've got a whole new community. And yeah, that's it. There's your answer. Okay. Yeah.
Have you guys got anything to say?
Nah.
Barbara, we haven't seen you for
Good to see you, all right.
I was a girl for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Is this,
I-
are you the lovely Gertrude?
Yes.
Yes. I'm here.
No, not you.
Welcome, welcome Gertrude, welcome.
So you haven't spoken to Brian?
Not since I have spoken to him. He's supposed to be getting back to me with a video that he was putting together for my opinion on it and whether we could go what road to go down,
Yeah.
what avenue. But if you want to mention what, then please.
It'd be worth mentioning.
Yeah,
'Cause
yeah, yeah, do.
it rung a massive alarm bell to me about their plans for Abbey Farm. Based on what he said, what he'd done is he'd dug out documents from the 1990s about the southwest, and he was talking about where they had plans to break Britain up into zones.
Do you want to just say who you're actually talking about?
No,
No,
just
okay.
let's just call him Brian.
Right, okay.
Right, and he'd
A high-level man in the know.
yeah, and he showed me documents of the plans from the 1990s, and it's still ongoing, where they were going to break Britain up into zones,
That's the European plan.
just like the Hunger Games, so to speak. And within these zones, you was allowed to live in certain areas based on your social standing, and that is still running.
Is that your
That was
social
put
media
out online,
as well?
I think.
Yeah.
That document is
Right,
online.
as in that, so it's based on your social standing. Now, part of that plan is to, for want of a better word, destroy resistance, destroy dissent, and what have you. And there was a certain part of Plymouth that were resisting redevelopment, so to speak.
A resilient community.
Yeah, a really strong community that were saying, no, things are great, we're okay, and they were pushing it. Tony Blair turned up to have a chat with Plymouth Council, and they did their public bit, you know, and what have you. And in a private meeting afterwards, it was heard that the leader of the council at the time said, okay, you've got all these plans and what have you, but we're getting massive resistance from this area. And Blair's response to that was, we have given you special powers, use them. And they flattened the place. So then, as soon as he said that, I thought, whoa, Abbey Farm, a really strong community, and they're going to carve don't swear, they're going to carve a line through it for the good of the people, for the good of the town, but they're going to take away the parking, they're going to flatten garages, people have bought their homes, they're going to flatten houses. The thing is that I would say, and this is only speculation, I would say that the compensation that they're going to be paid won't buy them a shed somewhere else in town. So,
And is that being done under the compulsory purchase?
It will be,
Yeah.
if they're going to do it, yes. No.
yeah, and people are very. I didn't realise the scale of the zone thing. You know, and the social standing element of it. The area he spoke about for the southwest was Cornwall, Dorset, and Devon, and that was it. That was the boundary. You know, that's where you live. That's where you stay.
Yeah, these were going to be the planned European regions, I take
Yeah.
it.
That's it. Yeah,
Because that was the European ideal, is you get rid of the shires and
That's
instead
it.
of regions. And you've still got the regions, haven't you?
yeah,
Because we haven't really come out of Europe.
Yeah. So,
So what you say, that will probably become the biggest problem in town, I
Yeah.
think, is the Abbey
When's
estate problem.
when's it down to be knocked down then?
We're starting this spring, this year,
Really?
24. Yeah, my son lives on.
People are just going to go along with it, thinking they ain't got no power, basically.
yeah.
But at the end of the day, full stop. If that needs to be, you know, stays where it is, and that can be done, can't it?
Has anybody ever challenged that? I mean, anybody ever challenged the compulsory purchase?
I haven't even,
We need to do a bit of research on that, you know.
but I guarantee you, I absolutely guarantee you that any compensation they get won't buy them a property anywhere else.
Well, let's face it, if you're going to, how much would you pay for it? For the people who bought their own houses, what's a 3-bed worth on the Abbey estate? 175?
Something like that.
So if you give them that and you can't buy a 3-bed on the Abbey estate,
You can't buy one anywhere.
where are you going to buy
And
it?
they were built solid houses as well, weren't they?
Yeah, yeah.
You know, you're going to literally buy a plasterboard. heat,
Mine was
whatever.
190 back in 2020.
Yeah.
So it's a lose-lose, simple as.
So basically, I mean, again, with the 30th of April, we, you know, with that in mind, what you just said about
Bang that
every
out.
state, we need people coming up to
Well,
the meeting, you know,
Right,
to back it all up.
yeah,
Yeah, we
there's
need
got-
to, sure.
A
They're
line
starting to have,
about that on
That's
the
right.
community
flyer.
meetings
yeah.
on the Abbey estate
The leaflet.
in the community centre on Abbey Farm. They're starting to have meetings. There is one this week, Dana, is there? Or was it this week, Tuesday?
Can you find out when the
Last
next
week.
meetings are? I think we need to.
Yeah.
Last
Lee
week.
Ashmore.
Yeah, Lee Ashmore's watching and been
Hello,
commenting
Lee.
on it.
Yeah, apparently I think you're the main man now, mate.
So I think Thetford Council Watch needs to get involved with the residents on the Abbey estate, find out what's going on, do some research, find out.
Journey Hollis is watching.
Yeah, they-
106 money can be waived on development if open spaces and play areas are, and it faded off.
What was that, Chris? We were getting a.
Yeah, are there any questions coming up?
Has anyone got any questions? It's like being on a seance. Can't
Yeah,
talk
shall we
away.
join hands?
I am here.
No, what do you think about
Jenny
it?
said that money can be waived on developments if open space and play areas are provided.
Anyone watch Law and Nina?
I don't understand what
Yeah.
it means.
I saw today.
Just I was here for the past week. All the immigrants are acting as unpaid bailiffs with no licences.
Yes.
And the cops are backing them up.
Yeah, we got
They've
that.
But
been doing
the
that for a
public
while.
got together and stopped it before back in
Yeah.
Aston.
Yeah, they're what they're doing now is they are issuing illegal immigrants with their licenses to act as security guards without any vetting or
We're not
anything.
showing.
Yeah, but they're not showing them, when they're operating.
Should we
Yeah.
The
have-
public got together and got a back in your house.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's happening everywhere.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
thing is, we haven't had that problem yet in our
Not yet.
area.
But it will come. It's in Ipswich, it's in Norwich.
Yeah.
You know, it won't be long.
But this is
Lee said that public spaces are being gifted to the developers,
Gifted by who? That's the thing.
the council, I guess.
Yeah. And where's the consultation been on that?
I think this is where people are going to start
Yeah.
waking up to
The thing is,
to their rights.
The thing is, people have forgotten that they are in charge of the council. But what they've done is they've inverted it. The council are riding roughshod over the bloody public.
It all
Same
comes
as the
down to
allotments.
jurisdiction and taking it away from them.
Does Lee know when the next meeting is for this, the estate? Because like you say, we need to get down there, don't we?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, how's there any way back for the council when the people start waking up?
Yeah.
You know, because literally there's no going back after this. Do you know what I mean? I want to crush the allotments, knock half of Abbey Farm down,
Yeah.
come in with a climate Linemate Emergency, whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it.
Do you know what I would suggest here? I'm just shooting from the hip because it's all about, right and wrong. Now, we know at the minute there was a 24% turnout in Thetford at the last local election. 18% the die-hard Labours. They're pushing through legislation on an 18%, yeah?
Mhm.
Now, if we look at it, this is a district thing, the Abbey estate, isn't it? Yeah, now, if we find out who the elected people are for the the Abbey, which party they are, what the turnout was, and get all the numbers. So,
Yeah.
this is, and I'm shooting from the hip, we've got the numbers, we then in effect run a vote on the Abbey estate.
A vote of no
Lee
confidence.
said some
Induce-
residents have been offered 120,000.
Yeah.
120.
120.
But if they're concerned, what we do is we induce a high turnout. So to me, the high turnout, which is democracy, for want of a better word, in action right now, that gazumps the turnout and the votes that the representatives have got who are pushing this through. And that shows that the people there are not in line with who's in charge. So that would then put them, is what I call in good standing.
It would also be worth finding out. So this work's going to be carried out by somebody, isn't it? So who are the contractors?
Who are the contractors?
And who are those contractors tied to? Because we saw that with Norfolk, didn't we? Norfolk County Council and Norse. There was a link between the County Council and Norse feeding work between themselves.
Do you know what, it's quite interesting on that, because I haven't paid my council tax this year. Through principle. And what happened was, I've ignored as usual, I've ignored the call to court, which is just an invitation because it's civil. Now what Brecklin have done is they've sold my debts onto a gang of local tech collectors called ARP. ARP come to my house 2 days ago. I give them a short shrift, but they forced a letter through my door. ARP are a private company. I've registered them to Company's House. I found out who runs it, and I've also got all the past directors and who run it in the past. And it turns out that a lot of the past directors are actually Brecklin councillors.
Good to know.
Fantastic.
So you've got Brecklin councillors, ex-Brecklin, who used to run this ARP firm. They don't now. But basically what's happening is you've got people who are coming under pressure from Brecklin Council by a private company, where it looked to me like I'll have to find out if they were councillors at the time, which is a massive vested interest.
Fantastic.
Lee said the next meeting's on the 8th. 8th of April, I assume.
The eclipse day.
Oh.
Excellent.
Yeah,
Well,
we know the world's
that
going to
day.
end on the 8th
That's
of
it,
April
it's
anyway.
just going to go in blackout, isn't
Yeah,
it?
we'll
You
be
know?
in darkness.
Hang on, what day's that, the 8th?
Monday.
Oh, it's next Monday.
Monday, yeah.
Monday coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, couldn't we double that up with our meeting? Are you in touch with Lee?
Only on here. Well, I can contact
Why don't we take the Thetford Council Watch to the Abbey Estate and run it there?
Where's the, in the,
And go live with the...
they've got
with the
venue
pub-
there, haven't they?
Yeah.
Is that where they hold them?
Yeah.
It's it.
Is it in the
At the community centre, right
Yeah.
now, it's
Yeah,
community
if we-
centre by the shops.
Yeah, if Lee can
Yeah.
get in charge of us, we could, you know, because that was one of the dates for rescheduling
Yeah,
the
that's
council
right.
watch
Yeah.
meeting. Potentially, we could bring it down, run the council watch with the Abbey residents in there, make that a big part of the meeting and go live with it.
Is he part of the meeting? Does he chair it?
No, he's just concerned. I don't like to use the word resident,
Yeah,
but he's
yeah.
just
Who's in
concerned.
charge of that meeting so we can get in contact to see if they would.
I would say that would be down to flagship and
Well, no, they're going to have their independent meeting because they're dissenting, aren't they? So it's just a question of whoever's. I'll go down. I'll try and get onto it. If any of us can get on, Zach, get onto the estate and find out where the meeting is, what's happening, and see if we can. Because I'm away.
surely you could just turn up.
Well, it would be it'd be
to
nice
run
to do it
something.
officially
Yeah.
and run the meeting.
Yeah.
Does that make? Do
Yeah.
you agree?
Well, my son lives on there, I'll find out. He's going to be leaflet. He might have had a leaflet through, mightn't he?
But if we actually set it up as the Thetford Council Watch, it's on the piece to camera, we go out live and we're actually reporting from the Abbey Estate, excuse me, where this is the plan by the council.
Yeah.
And make this,
You don't look old enough to have a son.
I know.
But no, that's right. I think we should do it that
I think
way.
that's a
Yeah.
good idea.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
does Lee who's watching, does he think that's a good idea? Just tentatively us coming down and running it live?
Do you reckon that's a good idea, Lee? Or Captain Commodore as he is?
I mean, I have quite a lot of people on the internet I I know who were following us, and you know, that's a lot of kudos for the residents.
I'm assuming it is a public building and we're allowed to film.
Yeah.
No, I think it's only your name.
So how much of the estate's going to be taken then? Is it knocking half of it down?
I think it's basically all the green spaces in between
In
the
between.
rows of houses
Gotcha,
are being built on,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and all the garages that are
Right. So not
in
knocking
the
buildings,
housing
not
estates are
knocking the
being
houses
built on
down.
as well.
They're knocking any of the houses down.
Yeah.
Well, they are knocking the houses down.
My
Well,
son-
obviously it's a council estate, but a lot of them houses are still brought
My,
as well.
my son's a council resident on
Yeah.
there, and he's had stuff through that he can't make head or tail of.
Yeah.
But they're basically telling him his road where he lives on is one of the first to be
Which one do you live in?
St Albans.
Right.
Starting at that side.
Yeah.
Snob End.
Yeah.
That's what it used to be called, didn't it?
That's right, yeah.
Can anybody who's watching who's in Abbey State say what
Yeah.
what are the local elected councillors doing about this at the minute?
The plans are for it to go on until about 2040, wasn't it? 2048,
Yeah.
2050?
Well, the
Yeah.
depopulation will be down by then anyway, won't it?
It will, yeah,
If you-
yeah. That's a good point.
Might
I
be
brought-
500 million.
Yeah, I brought that up the other day,
Yeah,
you know, about they're shutting farms and stuff like that.
yeah,
They're shutting farms because they ain't gonna, they don't have to feed
No.
as many people.
that's right, yeah.
You know, really.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean. These are family homes for these people. Who've probably lived there forever since the estate
Yeah,
was
that's
built.
right,
You're
yeah.
getting epoxy £120,000, which, like you said, ain't going to even buy a Wendy house in the town. These people need to work out that, you know, basically these council tax, you need to stop paying the council tax, stick together. There's nothing they can do, and force back, resist back. You know.
If we can come out, if we can get the meeting down with them, we can put potential strategies in, can't we? You know?
Yeah, we can thrash it out, can't we? Yeah.
But I would.
So I would imagine
council
there's a
tax.
lot of people that
Yeah.
that are they're concerned about their situation, but they're not aware of the bigger programme
Yeah.
in
No.
place. That's the thing. So yeah, that'd be worth dropping a few truth bombs in there.
Who was offered 120?
I don't know.
That's what I just said. Yeah.
It's someone on here.
Is that for 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, or you know?
I think
there are only one or two
120 's not
bedrooms.
gonna
No,
get it.
they're all
Yeah.
freeze.
There's all three and fours.
There's-
Yeah.
Well, unless it's the flats, there's a couple of one bedroom flats, I would imagine. But
Yeah, so-
I wouldn't imagine anyone owns the
I'm
flats.
going to give you 120 for a flat.
Every
aren't they?
council, I would think.
Don't know. I used
Yeah.
to live there years ago, but I
Mm.
It must be terrifying for them.
And if we do find out, like I say, name who's actually chairing the Abbey Estate one, then we can liaise and go down there on Monday, set things in motion for the 30th of April against the town council. And just get enough of the townspeople down there.
get that
You know.
around Alley Farm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a big
Well,
Every street.
that's a
Yeah.
big
2,500.
movement. isn't
When are
it?
you
That,
getting them
waking
done?
people
Or
up.
they're
Hopefully tomorrow, Monday.
yeah, and then we'll
So as soon
start.
as they're ready, I'll
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get them out, yeah.
I've got 2,500 ordered at the minute, which I think
Yeah,
will be enough to get people.
yeah. We can chip. We can
Well, we
chip
can
in.
get,
and-
so if you want to get any
Yeah.
more, we'll pitch in, yeah,
Yeah.
get some more out and about.
I mean, just going back a bit, one thing that concerned me about the last council meeting is we didn't get an apology.
No.
That's right.
Yeah,
Not one apology of anybody,
Yeah.
the clerk, the
yeah.
chairman.
But let's face it, right? They had no right to deny us our right to film in public, and they knew it. And all they've done is,
It's been awkward, ain't it?
yeah, I mean, they come out with that bloody statement, didn't they? And they said, oh yeah, well, we've had a think, and we've had a bit of a chat, yeah, and we decided, yeah, you can film now. When in actual fact, they had no right to stop us in the first place.
They can't decide because
Yeah,
it's nothing to decide on.
yeah,
Trouble is, that, I mean, the facts of the matter that they've done it that way and then said you can film now, they've just made themselves look
Yeah.
stupid
Yeah,
anyway. So it
absolutely.
probably works in our favour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because the social media's taking it on and can see what they're like.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
so
But it just shows you clearly they are not there for the people.
No, they're not.
It's
Yeah,
as
they're
simple
not.
as simple
They're
as
not.
that, you know.
Well, you know, I just thought the concern there for me was, you know, you get some, we've all got something wrong, but the first thing you do is hold your hands up and say, you know
Yeah,
what,
that's
I'm
right.
awfully sorry.
Yeah,
You know, we told them it was against the law, they ignored us, they got the police in.
yeah.
And now, they've changed, they've done 180 degrees, and they haven't got the,
No.
you know, the manners to say, we're awfully sorry.
I've got a question for you. Who pays for the litter pickers around town?
No one.
Nobody.
No, and they're voluntary, Bob.
No,
They
I
do it
mean,
voluntarily.
you know, like you've got...
Serco.
It's Serco, isn't it? But who pays Serco to do the
Right,
town?
It's one of these public, I know, and I'm concerned about this,
It's just that I'm having a bit of a backwards and forwards with a guy in Ipswich Council.
Right, I'll give you my little, I was a councillor at the time, I went into a local hostelry, and the manager of the local hostelry had two lovely ladies in, they were quite chirpy, and we all ended up having a bit of crack. And in the end I said, what are you doing here? And my friend who run the hostelry said, they're from Brecon Council, they just give me an offer on bins. I said, well, what's the offer? He said, I think he said, he just took £600 off my yearly bin finances. And it turns out they were Serco working for Brecon Council.
The meeting has a chair, and it's chaired by Terry Lands.
Oh, your mate, isn't it?
Ah.
AKA Vader.
Yeah, but basically what happened was they presented him with a deal. I think he was with Biffle or, you know, somebody like the old persons. Because it was saving him so many £100, he went with the council. So basically I explained to him, what's happening is the council with this big, one of the biggest global companies in the world, corporations, Serco, they're gazumping all the privateers in the area. Now when they've got rid of all the privateers and there's only Serco and Brecon and you haven't got a choice, you know, the prices will go up. So basically, you know, you've got public council, which is not public, it's really a private company, isn't it? And they're in bed with these bigger companies, and what they're doing is they're forcing everybody on the market.
Sounds like you're talking about Amazon now.
Yeah, you got. Well,
So the Amazon are the
Pearsons
big
were
company.
bought out, Pearsons were bought out by a much bigger concern, weren't they?
I mean, look, I'm not a socialist, I'm not a communist, but more and more I'm starting to see is that we need to have things back
Yeah.
in public ownership.
Yeah.
You know what I always say? I'm not left, I'm not right. I'm just right or wrong.
Yeah, that's it, I agree with you.
That's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what's going on with the public buildings then?
What, the public
In
buildings
the
in
town
Thetford?
square? The town square, yeah.
Trusts and all that.
Yeah, you're talking about the public. just
Yeah,
then.
I haven't
Yeah.
totally got my finger
No,
on the
no,
pulse
no.
on this, but from what I can see, there's going to be some shenanigans, and they're going to be, the buildings are going to be put into trust. Somebody's
Yeah.
going to be in charge of the trust, and they're going to be taken out of public hands.
Because they've been there since 1337. That's what it says on the gates that they've put up. 1337.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah,
120,000 for a 3-bed house.
Really? Line.
How much?
120,000 for 3 bed. Well, you think that anywhere else in the town that wouldn't buy your 1 bed flat, would it now?
Won't buy the
It
bed.
won't buy
Anywhere else in the town?
Well, I would suggest anybody that's watching who lives on the Abbey Estate, if they haven't already done it, you get your 120,000 and you want to stay in the town, what are you going to get for that?
Yeah.
It's, the people need rallying together. And yeah, it's as simple as that. Get that leaflet going, people together, and we've got to put a stop to it.
And Jenny Hollis said that residents' meetings shouldn't be chaired by councillors, really,
Well, no, they shouldn't
because then
really,
it becomes
'cause
political.
Yeah.
But we're not councillors.
No,
No, what
but
about Terry
Terry
Lands?
Lands and stuff.
That's going to be
So-
an issue going
Well,
down.
what we need is we need the residents to give us permission to come down and run the meeting with them involved. Does that make sense?
Or help, not run the meeting.
Yeah.
No,
That's
no. What I mean is if we
Antagonistic.
have our
Yeah.
meeting, our normal meeting,
yeah.
and then our meeting then rolls into their action group, and then they then get privy to anybody who's watching our meeting live.
Yeah.
It just means we turn up a bit early and have the meeting there.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I mean,
A lot of the stuff we'll be talking about will be to do with them anyway.
Yeah. So with permission.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you can't sort of encroach on someone else's debate and what have you. But so this land, this Terry land is chairing
Yeah, found
the
it.
meeting
Yeah,
So they've got it.
that's resisting.
yeah. That's,
That's unbelievable, isn't it?
yeah, and he's on the council.
Yeah. What does that remind you of? You know, the old.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, that's why I'm suggesting we get involved.
Have they got a residents association there?
Well, I knew
Yes,
someone.
but no, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, I knew someone who was actually running things quite well. An old school friend of mine, but he died suddenly.
Oh,
Who was that?
Steve Bartrap.
Oh, Steve,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, that was to do with diabetes and stuff like that.
The thing that's coming around to me, people have got to start getting organised, doing things that we don't usually do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I just said before, this is going to become the biggest thing in town, the
Yeah,
happiest
for
state.
sure.
I think from our point of view,
Yeah.
we're going to get more and more involved in this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
and the climate.
Well, the climate to a certain extent is, where's it going to go, what are they
Yeah.
going to do? Do you know what I mean? The only thing we can get on that is potential fraud, the £20,000 being used
Yeah.
on something strange. But we haven't, that's nothing we can get our teeth into really at the minute.
It's
Yeah.
more pressure.
We're knocking the houses down and moving people out of the estate and they've got nowhere to live.
Yeah.
So this would be good if someone shares it on the Thetford forum, wouldn't it? What we're talking
I
about.
wonder who that will be.
Yeah, yeah, probably. Well,
Actually,
not
saying that-
his one though.
Saying
but
that, just for this lot,
Yeah.
right? What I'm finding is Thetford Forum rejects allow everything that I put on there, everything that's going on politically, whether it be local or global. Global, I can't say global, earthwide.
That's it.
But Thetford Forum, they only allow certain little bits. If I'm putting something on there about the farmers or whatever, yeah, they're fine. But as soon as I put anything on there that's potentially questioning the council, it doesn't get on there.
Yeah, but I thought Thetford Forum was run by Labour.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Well, that's why you can't get nothing on there.
Yeah. But I'm just saying to these people here,
But that means people are missing out on key information. And they're not getting.
absolutely they're missing out on key information because the platform that is meant to be providing information to the townspeople is being censored.
I got attacked
So
the other day.
Thetford Forum rejects is where you tend to get a lot more truth out there.
You got to check.
I got attacked on Thetford forum the other day. I go on there, but someone had put a comment on there about the Linemate Emergency, so block drains, this, that and the other, and you're saying, you know, there's no dredging in the town and all the other bits and pieces. So I threw out a few home truths on there, and yeah, got attacked on there saying I'll be very careful what I write on it. I'll write exactly how I feel and what I want. And
Write
what
the
I
truth.
want.
Yeah.
And that's been on there. You know, I had people back me on there, obviously, and simple as that, you know.
Yeah.
But you can't, like you said, censor to the reject. The reject one's the one then, obviously.
Yeah.
So
You know, so if everyone goes to that, at least they're going to pick up on, you know, I mean, there's all sorts of things, you know, everything that we've basically been discussing. You know, we've chucked stuff on there. And
I post my shit on there as well.
You do, but your stuff's not shit.
No, but the thing is, from our point of view, we you know, we know the sovereignty. We can give information on that. We can interview people with confidence. What are they getting off there? The elected people are just controlled. The elected
Yeah,
people
well,
are not
that's
going to
it.
do
That's
anything.
that's
nothing.
exactly
Again,
what I
nothing.
put in capitals in the post on the Thetford forum. What do we get from our so-called representatives in brackets, basically, and that is nothing. And
No,
everything
you
we've got on the
That's
table.
unlike you to use capitals. You must have been really
Yeah,
angry.
well,
I hope you hyphenated them.
yes.
I mean,
We
all
don't
the-
want any dog Latin
all the,
going on our posts.
No, I'm just going to say, all the new town councils though, I mean, really, what at the end of the day, what are they doing? You know what I mean? Sitting on there, just getting the status for being on the town council and doing nothing? Because they don't seem to say a lot when they're at these meetings.
See, when I first joined the council, I was like, oh, it's really good. They're all new councillors. It's all new blood.
Yeah.
But what it really means is that because they're not experienced, they're all being
Be controlled.
goaded
Go, yeah,
Yeah.
by
right. Yeah,
certain other people
yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, but
from
you've got
Crinkley Bottom.
but Chris, you've got the whip system again, haven't you? Especially with it Labour.
Yeah.
They've got to do as they're told. They can't dissent. There was only one party who could dissent.
Yeah.
That was UKIP. We were allowed to fight with each other. You know what I mean? There was no whip in UKIP. You can kill each other. Have a a good disagreement and let the people see it. You used to love it, you know. It's quite funny to find out you were far right.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, everyone's far right now. Anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Racist, far
Yeah.
right, you know.
You're a
We
racist
refused
now.
to be in far right because we had when we done those interviews at my place,
Yeah.
we had the light newspaper on the table.
Yeah.
Oh, you're far right.
Yeah,
That's on the far left.
yeah, yeah. That's it. Who'd have thought it, eh?
Yeah. I was just thinking about the Abbey Farm. I don't know what you discussed when I was out, but 120 grand for a three-bed house. What are they expected that family to do? And is that house going to be knocked down to put 2 new council houses on? What are they going to get rent for?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
What are they expecting a family to do with 120 grand?
Well, at the minute, the government's paying for people from overseas to be housed at top-notch money.
Say for 120 grand, you'd want that to be tax-free, wouldn't you?
Which you couldn't buy anything with that.
Yeah.
Those are what I said, yeah, I did say
You
that.
talking
Yeah,
about that?
no, I weren't here. Yeah.
And you talked about Laura earlier. Did you see where she lives in the Isle of Sheppey? They gave OAPs 48 hours
Yeah,
notice
Yeah.
to move
Yeah.
out of their accommodation, to move people from overseas in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everything we've said tonight, there's just no going back on everything that we've said, and these people are blatantly coming even more in on us with all of this stuff.
And can I
They're
just
coming in
say,
even more.
can I just say, for those that think this is a far right comment, it's not those from overseas, because people from overseas are very welcome. It's how the people from overseas are coming in.
Yeah.
Mostly men.
Yeah, mostly men of fighting age.
Men of fighting age, 16 to 18-year-olds, I heard, was the
To act as bailiffs.
to act as bailiffs, to act as security guards that are unvetted, are being issued SIO badges, and so the whole thing is starting to look very, very dark.
What about the vans, the security vans? They're the police's vehicles. That's the question.
what are
that-
No,
No,
but we-
are they?
Oh no, they've got dog unit written on them, but
Yeah,
they're not police
no,
vehicles.
what you find is the majority of them have got no paperwork.
Yeah,
They're actually illegal for the job that they're doing.
exactly.
And it's just understanding that. I think people, but I mean, I was looking at what Roy said there before. There's people power all over the country standing in the sovereignty, understanding the law,
Yeah,
and are actually doing a good fight back.
yeah. And actually, you know, you talk about going back to Abbey Farm, you know, moving people out of their houses and so on and so on. It's becoming apparent now, and it's actually in mainstream media, that people, say like, you know, like people who've lived in their council house or whatever, or their own private house, whatever, for years and years and years, and all the kids have left home, and now they're living in their, you know, like 1 or 2 people, elderly people, are living in their,
4-bed house.
living in their 4-bed house, because all their kids have left home. They're now being forced out of their property into smaller accommodation to allow overseas peoples
Yeah.
to move in. When you've got people living on the streets in this country,
Yeah.
there's something very wrong. People are being forced out of their homes they've lived in for years
By the local council,
by the local council. Yeah.
who are taking their instructions from people above.
Yeah.
But I think, Bob, this is a recent thing because I know what you're saying where that happens when people move on, their kids move on and things like that, and the couple are just left in a 4 or 5 bedroom house. And I've known people that's happened to, and they've asked the council if they can move. This is say 8-9 years ago. They've asked the council if they can move into a smaller house, and they said no. We haven't got any. No, I've heard that lots of times. No, we haven't got any. And now it seems like this is happening
It's
more and
convenient
more.
now.
Yes, it's convenient.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the thing is, Jane,
Yeah.
there's no redundancy. What you would have found years ago, there would have been redundancy in the stock for emergencies, and yeah, when a family got smaller, we'll put them.
Yeah,
But now, there's that much pressure on the housing stock, the way
Yeah.
they're running it, that there's never any redundancy. So when you want to move into that 1 bedroom,
Yeah.
there's nothing available.
they weren't
Actually,
available.
while you've got that in your hand, for those that are watching who aren't aware, and you know, new people watching are in, this is a good place to go and get your real news,
Information, yeah.
information and fact. These are called far right, these people, because they give you the truth. Okay?
The anti-Semitism you mentioned.
Oh yeah,
Is being affected in America.
Yeah, anti-Semite. Yeah, we
That
had
is
it.
being affected in America.
Yeah.
The other little local issue that no one seems to talk about is the homeless people living in the forest. Don't know how many there are, but why are they there?
Right. Do you want me to tell you?
Well, I know they've had places built. I know there was one up on the Elm Road, Pine Close, wasn't it, a emergency accommodation place that they opened? Where the school
The old
was?
school. Yeah.
Yeah, they did that up, didn't they? As emergency little units, didn't they?
Jane, let me explain what happened during COVID, when everything got closed down. Some of the local hotels, the Thomas Paine, he let the council put homeless in there. It was the only way he could actually make an income. So his rooms went to the homeless in town, and I ended up, because I'm a neighbour, looking after them. Now, all of them, except for one, were Europeans. And it was quite funny. Now, the first port of call for them in town is the Salvation Army. So because I was looking after them in the hotel, I volunteered to be an intermediary go-between. And I was liaising with the Salvation Army. And then the lady who was liaising with explained to me about this tented camp in the woods. Now, I knew nothing about it. So I asked her if she'd take me up there and show me it. So I went up there and had saw of it, you know, in 2020. It turned out that there was that many people coming in when we, especially when we were still in Europe, but even when we got out of Europe, there was that many people coming in. There was no housing stock for them, which we spoke about a minute ago. There was no housing stock, Jane. So basically they all lived in the woods, in tents and whatever they got. And what, she took me up there because it was like a flock, because she's Salvation Army. It's like a church, it was a brethren, you know. So she took me up and showed me around. Now, one of the things I noticed was they were keeping it clean, but there was rubbish everywhere. They could only do so much. And I said, well, I'm going to get onto Brecklin because I was still a councillor. I said, I'll get a skip. And at least then the skip, they can put the rubbish in. She then explained to me that the council won't provide any provisions for them, rubbish provisions, ablutions and anything like that, because that would be looking like it condoned it. So there was no help from the council because it was condoning it, but at the same time, the council's letting it happen from top to bottom. It's just lunacy, the whole thing is lunacy. And we've still got that going on now, we've got that many people coming in. But because they now don't want them to live in the woods, they're paying the hoteliers to close the hotels and put them in and paying them taxpayers.
That's just one little town in Norfolk.
Yeah.
It's happening.
That's happening
Nationwide.
But it was like that 10, 12 years ago, wasn't it? Or more than that, Mark. There
Yeah,
was,
but it's got worse, James.
yeah, I know. But there was quite a few people living in the woods at the back of where I live.
Yeah.
I used to walk through there and see
But when
them.
you go to the back of Sainsbury's,
Yeah, I know. I used to walk through there, and there was big encampments,
Yeah.
several of them as well. And I used to talk to them as I walked through there. And I mean, it's going on for quite a few years. I'd say at least 10 to 12, 13 years ago that was.
Well, that's it, well, and the councils haven't done anything about it.
No, they've never done anything. Never.
Well, it's the residents have to put up with it, residents
Yeah.
have to put up with the rubbish, you know.
Mm.
If any of them have too much to drink and fall down in your garden, you've got to put up with it. Nobody's coming to help you.
No.
That's Conservative and Labour.
Yeah.
I mean, same thing happens where I come from in Liverpool, and that's all Labour.
Mm.
Down here, it's all Conservative.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't matter who you vote for.
I think it's worth mentioning to people as well that are watching, because they're not all from Thetford, I would imagine, is that this little thing that we do here now, Council Watch, isn't just Thetford. This is going on in Colchester, and I heard Sudbury is setting up, Bury St Edmunds, Ipswich. It's going on all
It's
over
going on
the
in
country.
Liverpool as well.
It's going on all over the country.
Liverpool is doing a council watch as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just to let people know that there's people in your area that you can hitch up to and join forces. A lot of them are on YouTube as well.
I think the stand in the parks all over the car, probably be George and the Liverpool people.
Richmond.
Resistance. But yeah, I think we stand in the parks for ones, you know, I've got to start setting these council watches up.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then at least then we can start liaising and helping each other, and we've got some sort of system. Because this is the only way we're going to bring pressure to bear on the on the parties.
The thing is, everything changed, as I believe it, to correct me if I'm wrong, everything changed in 1973. All these public entities, in 1973, everything had to become a corporation.
For the European.
For the European side of things. Everything became a corporation. This is why you've got CEOs of councils now.
Yeah.
So these are private corporations run for profit or non-profit, whatever, but they are not there specifically for your benefit,
Or your interests.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I've seen this. This is why I am I'm not paying council tax. I mean, when I was a Breckland councillor, I seen Breckland take a vote to wipe off council tax debt that hadn't been paid. And we couldn't understand at the time what was going on. We abstained, my party at the time. And we found out that they're selling that to debt collectors.
Yeah.
The debt collectors are then putting their bid on and threatening you. And then, you know, it's quite complex. So that's where I'm dissenting at the minute. I've refused to pay.
But it's no good the odd, you know, myself and a couple of others do it as well, but everyone needs to be doing this. Everything we spoke about tonight all gets fuelled by people putting into that. So people are moaning about the thing they're funding. That don't make any sense.
They're frightened. That's
Yeah,
why.
but they're frightened. So obviously we need to get the information out, educate these people.
But this is
Obviously
why I want to get down to the.
But we need to.
This is why I want to get down to the Abbey estate.
Yeah.
It's a
What we
big
do.
wake up area. It is. It
And
makes
it's
sense.
worth, you mentioned debt collectors and stuff. The thing is that people don't need to be afraid, because what's happened is these debt collectors, as we know, have bought the debt.
Yeah.
They're a private company.
They've bought the debt, so the debt is no longer there. The debt actually becomes the ownership of that debt collector. They bought your debt. You no longer owe that debt. It's theirs.
You haven't got contact with them.
There's no contract with the private
But
company.
even the police force are a corporation, aren't they?
Yes.
So they're there to make
Courts.
money. How can the police make
Even
money?
schools are now
Everyone's
businesses.
a corporation.
It's all about money.
Yeah.
And to answer someone's question here, Nigel, yes, there is still a Thetford stand in the park every Sunday, around about 11.
10:30.
Of 10, 11, depending on who gets there first.
Well, has he been down and there's been nobody there because it was Easter and people.
I don't know, but he just said is there still a Thetford stand in the park?
Yeah, they're still standing in the park. It's still there. Me and Zak will man it from 10:30, 11.
Yeah. And for those that don't know about Stand in the Park, this is a worldwide thing, Stand in the Park. You know, it's where people of like minds, like we sit and discuss, it's a worldwide event. It happens every single week in a lot of towns around the world.
Started in Australia, if you do the
Apparently, I was told, Stand in the Park has been going on considerably longer than 2020.
Really? Right.
Smithy High Park, you know, Speaker's Corner.
Yeah.
No, Stand at the Park, as we know, it was invented in Australia in 2020.
And he's still running.
He's still
Aussie guy,
running,
yeah,
yeah,
he does
he's
his
still running.
does his blogs and whatever. Yeah.
Bradley? Not
Yeah.
Bradley.
Yeah.
Anything from you ladies over there on what you've heard? Any points? Come on, Gertrude, are you waving to me? Do you have these problems down where you've come from?
Well, I was about to say that
Yeah.
as an outsider,
Chris.
quote unquote, because we are either insider or outsider in some way, but as an outsider, just being here quite by because I'm staying with Angela.
Yeah.
When she said she was coming to the meeting, I said I would like to go because I like things like these. And I was fitting it into a context that's from way back in the Caribbean. I wasn't fitting it into the English context. But having got here, I realized that I'm not alone in my thoughts on international issues, because you have raised quite a few. And there are thoughts that you're not allowed to raise in certain fora or even in among quote unquote friends, you have to zip on certain things. But hearing the little I've picked up from here, it shows that I'm not alone in my thinking on certain things.
No.
And that's quite good.
Yeah.
And it's also good to know that there are people who are willing to tackle these issues regardless of, you know,
Yeah.
who
And
is
the
in
thing-
charge and who
The
not
thing
in
is,
charge.
there's millions of us,
And-
millions,
Well, that's very heartening.
yeah.
Because, you know, you always feel like, okay, I'm just a little person here and I can't, but listening here, especially with that stand in the park, I mean, I knew that certain groups existed, but now you explain it like this, it makes a lot of sense that there are others out there. So that sort of strengthens my resolution to keep certain things in mind and to be proactive about certain things.
Yeah.
And so what you're doing, I think it's quite necessary. Although some may think it's a necessary evil, I think it's a necessary good.
It shouldn't be needed, should it?
No,
It should not
shouldn't
be,
be
but
needed.
unfortunately, we live in a world where the ego has taken the place of so many things.
Yes.
And because egos are bigger than practicalities, we often find ourselves in places where we shouldn't be and doing things that we shouldn't do, but they're needed nonetheless, and that's what you're doing. So I must commend you for tackling issues like that, and I feel, you know, I'm glad that I came, although I came with a different mindset.
Well, listen, we don't let them do divide and conquer. I like Gertrude. No divide, and you're going to get a big cuddle off me, right?
That's all he's been waiting for all night. He's been looking at his watch. Look,
He knew you was coming.
Yeah.
This was what-
I've always said ego stands for edging God out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's that?
And then,
I've always said ego stands for edging God
and
out.
that's the thing, you talk about divide and conquer. And
Yes.
people, you know, it's really important for people to remember that it doesn't matter where you come from, what colour you are, what religion you are, or anything. This is going to affect every single one of you. Every single one of you.
Yeah.
You're all being hit in your pockets by these corrupt councils, corrupt governments, corrupt NGOs. You're all going to cop it at some point. You might feel comfortable at the moment, I think I can afford it, but you are all going to be a victim of it at some point.
This looks like the battle of the resets to me personally, you know.
Yeah.
And the divide and conquer bit could fall in on the journey with it all sort of thing. But
Yeah.
people sitting there thinking they're all pretty because it ain't on their doorstep, but they're actually, you know, because it's on their neighbour's doorstep.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna have to get up because they're getting roped into all of this. So
Well,
but there's an easier way to all of this, you know.
Yeah.
But if we what we're gonna do? Sit here next year, still
Join
having the same,
forces.
still having the
Where you
same
go.
chat next year.
Yeah.
I think the fuel of paying the council tax, it needs to be nipped in the bud. We need to stop pussyfooting about.
Yeah.
And
Well,
let's sort them out.
it's been 4 years now, hasn't it? And the first massive agenda has collapsed
Yeah.
completely, hasn't it?
Yeah.
So-
No, I think it nearest crocodile to the canoe, we call it, to me, I'm picking up now, is the Abbey Estate. Now, it's all about numbers. If people on the Abbey Estate are not happy, they've got to start galvanising themselves.
Yeah.
Plans of action, the first thing I would say to them is, until this is sorted out, the lot of you stop paying council tax.
Yeah.
Safety in numbers, what are they going to do? Anybody comes around, we can advise them. I know I can, because you can, you're
Yeah.
going through it,
Yeah.
you've been through it. We can advise these people and start putting pressure to bear back on these corrupt.
But in the
Should
end of
not
the day,
let
if you're
the
paying
councils-
this council tax, why not contribute some of that? I mean, it's overpriced. It shouldn't be paid full stop anyway, whatever. But we should be focusing and pushing out in a different direction with this money. You're paying it anyway, so what's the difference? Use some of that money, and we need to head somewhere else with it. You know, because that's a lot of money. Once people realise, hang on a second, we've been paying this all this time. There's thousands, whatever of us.
Yeah, I would say,
Straight away, you've got a big pot there to start
Yeah, but-
dictating.
what I would say to you is,
They'll pounce on it, I know, but
people are suffering. I think once people realise that by not paying, they can stop a little bit of the suffering. Then once they stop the suffering, they know they've got the power, people are good enough then to say, I need to be putting some money elsewhere here for the good of the community. But you've got to go in stages. You can't
They've
feel...
got to-
No, that's it. Cut the fuel to start off with, 100%.
Yeah, they've got to
Yeah.
lose the fear, basically, that's what it is.
I don't know, yeah,
They've got to, really, they've got to lose that fear
Yeah.
and don't just think, well, if I don't pay, then I'm going to get someone knocking on the door. They've got to lose that because it's different to how people are thinking. If a lot of people more stand up, lose the fear, don't pay. I mean, I haven't paid for 2 years, the same probably Zach, same as Mark, all my bills. I think it's only a mortgage, I think I'm paying now. I think the rest are sorted, but... you know, so, but it's the fear thing. They put you scared, they say, right, we're going to put you in prison if you don't, they'll send you all these letters, but it don't work like that. It just, honestly, you know, drop the fear, you can get in contact with any of us.
For a
if you
start,
want
it's
any
all
advice.
civil, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's
To
all-
start,
it's
it's
all-
all civil, yeah. It doesn't just suddenly go like that. You
No.
get so many reminders, so many other
Few
letters and a
tactics.
summons. It's about over 6-7 months, you know, before initially. You know what I mean? So,
If anybody's interested,
Yeah.
we can give a good presentation
yeah,
on it.
we can do it, yeah.
It's not
Yeah.
trying to scrape the skimp the system at all. You know, we'll be to get a drink at the bar first straight away. But everything we've mentioned tonight, they're blatantly coming for us. So we've got to stop them in their tracks. It's as simple as that.
Yeah.
But use the money wisely and the togetherness. That's the main thing. Like I said, the battle of the resets. That's personally how I'm looking at it. You know, there should be no fear through this. So,
What would-
yeah.
So, sorry, that I said, what would Terry Land think Monday if suddenly said, well, no one on Abbey Farm's now going to pay any council tax? What would that do on Monday?
Yeah.
Straight away, it'd stop them in their tracks, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
I guess, right,
They don't want to listen, but they'll soon listen if that then happened. If that then pick up momentum and say, hang on a second, actually we have the power.
Yeah.
You know, straight away, back foot.
I don't know, again, I'm shooting from the hip. I get how many people on the Abbey estate are getting together at the minute, how many are worried about it, and then
Not many. My son lives there,
Yeah.
and they don't really know what's going on. They've had a few leaflets through,
Right.
and saying it's starting in spring 24, which is what we're in now.
Oh, yeah.
Kept them
Right, so
kept them in the dark.
This,
wasn't it?
the iron's red hot right now. We need striking right now, don't we?
Yeah,
No,
but-
they
Simple
need,
as.
they need some solutions.
yeah, but Alan, you were saying about your son, and you said when he's got 1 or 2 leaflets through the door, and he said he couldn't make head nor tail of them.
No.
So they're obviously written like that purposely, perhaps.
Yeah.
You know, so that people can't. And
He
it
was
confuses
initially-
the
Word
mob.
salad.
Yeah,
He was initially told that if his street is chosen to be knocked down, or his house is chosen to be knocked down, they'll rehouse him, and that'd be the end of it. But now,
Rehousing
been-
where?
who knows? But now they've said that you will have to go back into one of the new houses, which is going to be smaller.
Is this his own house you rent?
No, he's renting his council. But
See, that's slightly where they have got him there. It's not right, but they have got him, yeah.
yeah,
But it just shows you the direction and the, I call it evil of these
Yeah.
people, you know. What, so, you know.
How many houses do we think are bought then? You know, people are paying
It's a
for
good
this.
show.
I don't
We need
know.
to start
Quite a lot.
properly looking
Yeah.
into this.
Yeah.
Quite a lot.
It's been
I
here
used,
since
I
the
used to work in
60s.
the financial
Yeah,
industry
68.
years ago, and you were very often around there selling mortgages and
Yeah.
what have you.
it's got to be that 35-40% minimum.
It's a
isn't it?
lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so where's the money coming from to buy the people on the Abbey estate house? Where's that money coming? What budget is it coming out of?
Yeah.
See, these are the
Yeah.
questions
Well,
that people need to be
it
asking.
doesn't matter what budget it's coming from. If you're going to compulsory purchase a 3-bed house for 120 grand, and then put 2 or 3 houses on that plot, and then rent them out, you're getting the money back.
I agree with you, but I'm saying up front, if there's no money to do the compulsory purchase.
Well,
Money doesn't exist, Mark.
Yeah, we
that's
know
it.
that.
So it doesn't matter where it comes
No,
from.
but I mean, people don't understand it.
Yeah, well, the money's
But you
coming,
can't fight
the
that.
money is coming, is being added to the national debt.
Exactly.
It's being added to the national debt that will never, ever be paid back.
Right, so do you want
And
your
use the
council,
gift.
do you
Did
want
you know
your
there's a
party
website you can go on
that's
the national debt and you can just watch it going
Yeah,
on?
going
Yeah.
up,
Do you
up,
want
up.
your councillors and do you want your party that you've got in now voting for, or the ones you're ignoring or sort it out? Is that what the residents want? You've got to start at the bottom from
Yeah,
the
yeah.
rung of the ladder, Alan. That's my point. People have got to realise the money doesn't exist.
Yeah.
But they're using this money that doesn't exist to pay out people 120 grand
Yeah,
with
Yeah.
money that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's all
Just
Yeah.
be put in debt.
it's all
yeah, I'm
digits.
sure I saw something
It's
recently that the pound that began in 1913 is now worth 1% of what it was worth
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
1913. That's how much your pound is worth, and they're giving you 120,000 of those.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's for people going down to the cash machines to get it out as well, or into
Yeah.
the bank. Is it less than 1% of the actual money that?
Yeah.
It's just
Is
digits
it-
at the end of the
Yeah.
day.
So that's a stat in itself, isn't it? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah.
See, we need to look at contract law here. It's like, if you've got one fella in the middle of nowhere and he's on his own and everybody's attacking him, compulsory purchase. But if you've got a whole estate that stands up and says, we're not having compulsory purchase, do you know what I mean? Surely
Yeah.
there's got to be safety in numbers.
Well,
Numbers have got to count.
Yeah.
Well, you would imagine.
That's where FEMA comes in, doesn't it?
FEMA.
FEMA camps.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
we haven't got one. We haven't got it here.
It's one or two I've run 7 years ago.
Kingsley?
So I know I've run 7 years ago. I actually haven't heard nothing about them lately. But in America they got a lot.
Called a conspiracy theorist in 2016 for posting about the FEMA
The
camps.
FEMA stands for helping families
And they're
with
in.
rubbish. It's
Yeah,
not.
so I'd say we're slightly behind them, but yeah, that is probably where they'd like to be. But
Yeah.
they've got homeland security, and
Yeah.
probably why we got people on the boats. They're going to be, you've got to be careful.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, what are we honestly waiting for? You know, everything we've spoken about tonight.
But you can't do nothing until people wake
No,
up.
that's right, and it's all steps, and I get that, it makes perfect sense, but yeah, everything we've said, it needs to be attacked. The iron's red hot right now, so we've got to strike, simple as.
So we need to be down there at this meeting on the 8th.
Yeah, we need to be bang on
That's
that.
what we need to do. You know.
Well, there's two things. Then we've three things. The leaflet.
Yeah.
Let's get
Yeah,
a leaflet
yeah,
out.
yeah.
Let's plan what we can do with the Abbey estate.
Yeah.
And we've got to keep the pressure on for the climate crisis.
Yeah. For the 30,
Mm.
yeah.
And keep looking to your Thetford Council Watch for more information.
I
Yeah.
personally know a few people that own their properties on Abbey Farm, so I'm gonna start getting the word out and see what they think, obviously, and I'm sure they're not happy and they don't want to lose their family home, whatever. So
Are we all happy with the what we're concentrating on then?
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for everybody for turning up, and thanks for everybody at home listening.
Yeah.
that's right.
Yep, thank you very much. Hope you've all enjoyed that, and stay tuned for more in the future. All the best. See you later. Bye.
Right,